Here we go. All right, thanks everybody for coming today. We are going to be working on Canva today. Canva is a great tool to use for creating social media graphics and all kinds of different graphics, honestly. I'm going to run through a bunch of things that we do pretty much on the norm here. So I'm going to do a Facebook event cover, a Facebook post, an animated Instagram post. We're also going to do a worksheet as well as a certificate. So basically, I'm setting everything up to do my class on Friday. So I'm creating all of the graphics for that today. So I'll show everybody how to do that. If there's anything else you guys want to see, like the other thing I was going to do really quickly here at the very beginning, I'm going to show you guys how to do a Zoom background. So you have it for all of your Zoom meetings. Canva can do that too. So let's start with that. So Zoom background is one of the cool things that Canva can do. And it has all kinds of different templates that you can use as well. So you don't even have to be overly creative to use this product, which is fantastic. You can just pick a template, add in whatever you have, or change the colors, and it looks really good. So let's take a look at the Zoom virtual backgrounds that we have available to us. For those of you who have seen me in other classes, you've probably seen the aquarium. This is where the aquarium came from. There's all kinds of animated pieces in here. You may have also seen Noah on the beach. That's where that one came from as well. So anyway, these are the templates that are available just from Canva itself. You can put yourself in Egypt. You can hang out with the meerkats. There's all kinds of office backgrounds. Does anybody have a preference which one I use? Anything you want to see? All right, cool. So we're going to do meerkats today because why not? All right, so here's our meerkats. We can adjust things if we want to adjust them. If we want to, we can put little cloud information in for the meerkats. So let's say we want to do that, right? I want to put in the little like discussion clouds because I want my meerkats to be able to say something. So that would be an element in this case. I'd click over to my elements. Oh, look, there's little discussion clouds there ready to go. So this guy, I'm going to put a little discussion cloud in for him. I'm going to resize my discussion cloud. Put that up there. And then I'm going to want some text, obviously, because if we're going to have a discussion, I want to have some text in my little discussion cloud. So I'm going to click on the text tool. I'm going to add in some information here. I'm going to change its color just by selecting it. Click on the color tool. I'm going to change it over to black so I can see it. I'm going to adjust its size a little bit, and then I'm going to move it. I'm going to go through this a lot slower on the next piece here. But there we go. We now have a cool little background with some meerkats on it. I am going to change its name because I don't need it to be quite that big. I'm going to call it meerkat background. And then I am going to download it. I'm going to download it as a JPG because I don't need it to be ginormous. Boom, and I now have a new background for myself. 2 seconds later, you're going to see it pop up on my screen here. Choose virtual background. Going to add one in. Add an image, my meerkats. Boom. And now I have meerkats. So, super easy way to get yourself a cute little background for all of the Zoom meetings that you're in. Now everybody's going to be distracted by my meerkats. But anywho, so that's one cool thing that you can do with Canva. Moving on, we're going to do an event cover for any type of event that you want to do on Facebook. So plenty of us all do events of any way, shape, or form. So we're going to take a look at those. I'm going to close out my meerkats here because I don't need them anymore. And before we do that, let's go ahead and go over some of the tools that you have available to you. Oh, we took a look at the home screen before we got started. On the home screen for Canva, and Canva is at canva.com, by the way, super easy to find. They have tons of pre-made sizes for you. So whether you want to do videos or event covers or posts or gift tags or whatever, there are tons of designs available for you. All you have to do is pick one and get started. Over on the left-hand side, what you're going to find is this nice little home screen for you. The all your designs, which basically just lists out all the designs that you've ever made. So if you need to, you can go back, grab a design, you can make a copy of it, and simply redo it for another occasion, because why reinvent the wheel every time you need to create something? That's just silly and waste your time. There are templates for pretty much everything that you could ever want. There are photos. So we talk about photos over here. Let's let that load. There's all types of photos that Canva has built into the product, so you can pick out all types of different photos to use with any of your designs. There are applications that you can use as well. And depending on what you're using in the background, like I can pull in YouTube videos onto some of my stuff. I can pull in all kinds of neat stuff. So if I have LinkedIn information or stuff from OneDrive, I can actually link it back to here and pull it directly in from there instead of jumping from one spot to another, to another, to another. This will just pull it directly from wherever I have my data at. And that's new for Canva. I think that just started in the last couple of months. Canva also has something called a brand kit. Inside of here, you can keep your logos. You can also keep all of your colors pretty much at your fingertips. So if you know what your brand colors are, you can see ours are right there. It's 3 different shades of blue. You can add them in. You only get 3 on the free account, but you get additional brand colors if you pay for the account. We do have a paid account, so there are a couple things in here that you won't necessarily see in the free account, but most of it is available for free for you. Also, you get brand fonts, so if you have very specific fonts, we use 3 different fonts specifically for ours. I don't have them loaded in yet because I've been lazy about it, but I can put them in here, and then my entire team that's using this can pull all of our brand fonts specifically, and all of our stuff will look the same that way. So that's what that does. There's also some handy dandy tutorials to walk you through some of the pieces that you might want to learn how to do, whether it's branding your business, doing graphic design, or just some social media stuff. There are courses in here for you. So if this isn't enough, feel free to go through those. And again, these are all available for free as well. The other information that you see down here, there are folders that you can create. So if you want to create folders for specific projects, you can keep your stuff inside of there. If you are working within a team, which you can do that, so there's multiple people using the same information in an account, you have a team to be able to use that, and you can all use the same folders and see them. Uploads or anything that you upload specifically. For instance, our logos were uploaded into here for us to use them. And then all of our graphics are in here. And of course, the trash basically just gets rid of things for you. All right. So that said, those are the tools that you have available to you on the fly off the homepage. And then the next thing we're going to do is create an event cover. So let's do that. I already clicked on event cover, pulled up the information for that, and we're starting with a blank one for right now. But if you take a look at the tools down the left-hand side over here, you have the ability to pull templates, and there are tons and tons of templates for you to pull from. So it's just a matter of, picking whatever is the closest to what you want to make, or you can use a blank one. There are photos available for you. Basically, you just type in whatever you want to search for. Canva pulls up whatever it finds that's close. Elements are all of the other little things that you might need to find. And whether it's grids for pictures or shapes or frames or specific little icons or maybe little animations or pictures or charts or you name it, all of the elements in here that you can kind of flip through. Text really is text. You have the ability to add in just plain old, or they have some pre-made styles for you as well. And you can see what those look like. And those pre-made styles really are exactly the way that you see them. You can, of course, change the text, but you want to keep the size, shape, and font for those. You can pull in videos as well. Again, you can just search on whatever topic you want to search on, and you have video available for you. There are all types of different backgrounds if you want to put a background on something. Again, your uploads specifically. All of those embed. So if I wanted to pull in some information from YouTube or maybe from Facebook or Pinterest, somewhere where I already have data, I can pull it in from there. And then any of the folders that I might have, I can pull in information from there. But for today, what I'm going to pull in is a couple of the uploads that I have ready to go. So I want to pull in my information from Sway because I'm doing a class on Sway on Friday. I'm going to make this essentially my background. So I'm going to make it larger. And now that's going to be my event cover background. Great. All right. I don't necessarily need it to be quite that bright though, because I want to put things over top of it. So what I'm going to do is using this tool up here called the transparency tool. I'm going to take its transparency down just a little bit. So that kind of washes it out a little bit. So now if I put something behind it, it would actually show through. But since it's going to be my back layer, I just made it a lighter, essentially. Okay, fantastic. So did that. The next thing I want to do is put on the Sway logo so people know exactly what we're talking about. So there's my Sway logo, which is really ugly, and I'm going to pull a different one before too long. Right, why don't we just go, nah, I'll pull it later, no big deal. So there's my Sway. I'm gonna make it about that big. And I'm probably going to put it here.
One of my favorite tools is if you go under effects, the remove background. I use that all the time.
Oh, cool. There we go.
And it literally, like most pictures, it can detect a background and just makes it go away.
Fantastic, which is what I was going to do anyway. So
That's how I remove your headshot background and put you everywhere.
I didn't even know you could do that. I don't know that I've ever done that.
That's only
cool.
a pro feature, so it's really nice.
Okay, cool. Well, that's good to know. Maybe that's why. This is like, I think the second or third time that I've created anything since we went to the pro feature.
What was that under? Did you say effects?
Effects.
Okay.
And then background remover. Okay. And then what Noah was saying is that's the paid version feature. But yeah, that's pretty fancy and useful.
It works well for headshots and things, but if you have a very detailed background, it sometimes can't detect it. So it all depends on the photo that you're using.
All right, cool. So if we grab my headshot here, there's my headshot. We'll also add that. We'll do the background remover from that. Yay, there we go. And we're going to make me smaller because nobody really wants to see my head that large. And we'll put me down there. Okay, cool. So I know that's kind of what he's been doing. All right, the other thing that we might want to grab is our logo, which I keep that handy in here as well. Probably want the black one. Again, I'm just going to resize that. I'm going to drop it down into that corner because I kind of want it out of the way. All right, so now for branding, I have me, I have our logo, and I have a little bit more information about what we're actually doing. So the next thing I want to do is tell people what we're actually doing. So yes, it's Sway. Yes, I'm doing it. Yes, we have the company, but we're doing a webinar. And basically, I'm going to teach people how to do awesome presentations in about 5 minutes. So that's the information that I want to put on here. So we're talking about text at this point. And we are going to do the add a heading. So we're going to do webinar. I'm going to move that. Anytime that your mouse pointer becomes the compass point or that directional arrow, it allows you to move anything from point A to point B. And this actually allows you to turn. And it'll tell you the degree to which you're turning it as well. So I actually want that at 0. This will increase or decrease the size left to right. And that'll just increase the entire thing, including the font size. And you can see the font size actually increasing and decreasing as I move that. So just so you're aware, that's what that does. And there we go. Okay, so we're doing a webinar. I'm going to duplicate that because I want to keep the same information, but I want to put it over here. And I want to do awesome presentations in 5 minutes. All right, great. And I certainly don't want it looking exactly like that. So something that looks like that. Now that's messy and it's very difficult to see. So we want to fix it a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break apart my awesome presentations in 5 minutes. So I don't necessarily need all of that. So I'm just going to cut that out. And I'm going to do another heading, place it with that, make it black, cut that out, same kind of thing. All right, fantastic. And then I'm going to make these go to the sides a little bit, just a tad. This one's probably a little too much. That up. All right. All right, so that looks a little bit better. And then the next thing I want to do is I want to put something behind that awesome presentations in 5 minutes to make it stand out just a little bit more. So we're going to put, let's see here, a couple little elements in there. And I think what I want are some shapes. So I want to take a look at what shapes I have available to me. I don't think I want hearts or crazy stuff, but I kind of want something that looks like that. All right, fantastic. So I'm going to make that a little smaller. That looks pretty good. And make it just a little smaller. I'm going to change its color to reflect our colors. And then I am going to change that so it angles the same as my word awesome at 2%. I'm going to duplicate it because I want another one for behind presentations in 5 minutes. I'm going to drag it down a little bit. I'm going to increase its size so that it covers my presentations in. I'm going to decrease the size of it top to bottom. I'm going to shift it 2 degrees that way. Put it over top of my presentations information. And then I'm going to position it. I'm going to move it backwards until it's right behind the presentations in 5 minutes. I'm going to change its color so we can see it. And then I'm going to duplicate it again. Or actually, what we should do is duplicate the one that's behind awesome. Because I want to put that one behind 5 minutes. I'm going to position it backwards. And there we go. Now we have information that we can see on top of there. We know that we're doing a webinar. We know that we're going to create awesome presentations in 5 minutes. We know that we're using Sway to do that. And we are set and ready to go for Friday. Now, if we want something that looks a little bit nicer and not so haphazard in this case, we can go back to our templates and we can pick out a template and make something that looks a little bit nicer. So let's look through those. Because while this isn't terrible, it's not our usual level of polish that we do. So if I was grabbing something like, this is the one I think that Noah used for today's class. Yep. So I can pop that in there. Do I want to do it as a new page? Yep, I certainly do. So I'm going to add that as a new page. Here's our information. Looks a little bit nicer. I can change out the pictures that are here. So all I need to do is grab that picture. I can delete it out, or I can just replace it. So if I jump back over to my uploads, I know I have a picture for Sway. If I drag it over top of that picture, not letting go of my mouse, I can just drop it in where the other one was. So now it's just replaced out the picture that was there previously. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to grab my Sway logo. I'm going to pop it on here somewhere. There we go. I'm going to go back to my effects. I'm going to remove my background. Because while I don't necessarily want that to be one of the pictures, I do want it on here so people know what we're dealing with. So I'm just going to put it there for now, make it a little smaller. It looks a little nicer. Maybe I just want to, put it over top of one of the photos. So if I search for computer on the word photos, I can pick out something from one of these. Or if I look at doing maybe presentation would be the other one, since we're doing presentations in 5 minutes. Can let it search on presentation. There's one, looks great. We'll put that over here. Okay, so there's a presentation for us. And then let's also talk about computers, since we're using one to do that. I think most of us are sitting on a laptop at this point in our lives. All right, so now we have Sway, we have the logo, we have some pictures that are illustrating what we're doing. And then here, I'm gonna make this just a little bit larger. So I'm gonna make that a little bit bigger. I'm gonna drag it to a new location because I do kind of want it in the middle of all of this. Do you guys see those little pink lines that are telling me that I'm now in the middle? Great. All right, so again, we're gonna do your ESEN presentations in 5 minutes. I'm gonna make my text a little bit smaller, so it's not quite so gigantic. That looks pretty good. So I'm gonna do presentations in 5 minutes using Microsoft Sway. So 2 completely different looking things in just a couple of minutes by changing a template and typing in some information and dragging and dropping a couple of photos. So since that little bit of white was left on that photo, on that image, we're just gonna drag it up here so it looks a little nicer somewhere. There we go. Boom, done. So we're gonna download that one so I have it for later. So I now have my event cover. Any questions on doing event covers? Did you guys want to see anything again? Okay, easy enough then. All right, so we're going to close that one. The next thing we're going to do is do an actual Facebook post for something. Do you guys want to do a post specifically for a thing, or do you want me to just make one for the event Friday? Because I'm happy to do whatever. No preference?
Earth Day.
Earth Day? Okay, cool.
Okay.
All right, so luckily for us, they have a couple of templates specifically for Earth Day. So we can choose to either grab one of those and use one of those, or let's see if they have anything else. There's all kinds of stuff with Earth on it that we could use as a template. So usually what I do is I'll type in kind of what I want to accomplish. In this case, we have something for Earth Day, and then I decide what the message is going to be. So what are our messages for Earth Day? Do we want to concentrate on the actual Earth? Do we want to concentrate on what's going on? Do we want to just have an overview of something? We can do that as well. I kind of like that one just because it's colorful. But you can switch between any of these just simply by, clicking between templates and choosing what you want to choose. So whether you want the cuter looking cartoony people, or whether you want a photo, just pick out whatever template makes sense for you and go from there. So I think what I'm going to do, we would probably choose something like that. So instead of Earth Hour, we're going to say Earth Day. So I'm just going to replace hour with day. 2020. Yay, that looks nice. We grab our logo. As soon as I find it, probably use the white one. Make it smaller. And then it would be just a matter of, do I want it off to the side? Do I want to put it in the ocean? Do I want to put it on a cloud? You know, where do you want to, you know, stick your logo? It's kind of how you want to look at it. And the other thing is you can always drag other pieces around as well. So maybe I want to put that there, and I'm going to put our logo up in the middle up here. There we go. Now, if I want to recover or recolor some of this, I can do that as well. So the document color is actually pretty good. I might want to change that color though, instead of that bright weird blue to our blue gray. Looks a little bit nicer and a little bit more in line with our brand. So you always want to keep your brand in mind when you're doing some of this stuff. So there we go, we're ready to go. You can publish directly to Facebook from here if you choose to do that. I'm just going to download this one. So I have it. And then for us, normally what I would do is throw that image up on the marketing team inside of Teams, and then either Noah or I would post it to Facebook tomorrow, or we throw it into Buffer and push it out to Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So there's that. All right. So that's a Facebook post, easy enough to do. The next one, we're going to do an animated Instagram piece. The animations that you have available to you, I believe those are only available in the paid version of Canva as well. But again, there are plenty of templates that you can use. It's just a matter of which one makes the most amount of sense for you. So I'm going to flip through a couple of these so you can see what they do. Like that one just has the cute little hearts and stars on it. This one just puts words on. That one circles things. That one just has, you know, cute explanation things going out the sides. And then the one I choose for this particular thing was the squares that go in and kind of pop, just because it gives you just a little bit more pizzazz to what you're doing. So what I want to change here, and again, this is something that's going to go up on our Instagram, is though these classes are fun, they're not quite a party. So I'm going to want to change the backgrounds to this. So I'm going to pull in, again, the photo that I had pulled earlier, actually my upload photo that I had pulled earlier for Sway. And I want to put that in as my background. See if it'll just push it back into the back. No, of course not. So that would be super helpful. All right, so we do that. I'm going to leverage that in the middle. And I'm going to put that to the back. All right. So there's that. And if I want the people to like come through a little bit this way, so it's a little bit of a party, we can do that. So we'll leave that. Maybe it's just slightly a party. All right, cool. And then what else do we want to change? Obviously, we want to change the text because we're not talking about a New Year's party. We're talking about a Sway class. So, let's see. Obviously, it's going to need to be a little smaller. Then we'll just pull our information into the middle there. See where our text pops at. That looks pretty good. It's a webinar. Put that on there. And then the time. What is Friday's date? Let's see, the 24th. I don't know about the rest of you, but I have lost like all sense of when things are at this point. $11 a.m. There we go. And again, if we want to add in sway in there, we can certainly do that. If there's a good spot for it, there really isn't in this case. So we can just ignore that. I think that looks pretty good. Call it a day, and then we download. All right. So there's our animated Instagram post. Super easy to do. And then the other thing that you guys want me to take a look at, for those of you who are running social media pieces, if you have, we know we have Earth Day going tomorrow. And if I take a look at what I just did, so like if I jump back home, all my designs are going to be right here. If I want an Instagram post for tomorrow for Earth Day, if I resize this particular thing, I can change it to an Instagram post. It makes a copy, it resizes it for me. And now I have my Instagram post ready to go for tomorrow for Earth Day. So I can call that Instagram Earth Day. And download it. So if you're already doing a ton of social media and you need to do pieces for Instagram, for Facebook, for a couple of other things, they're all slightly different sizes. Canva will allow you to resize pretty much automatically into any of the pieces that it already has. So it's just a matter of picking the one that you want. And again, that resize is a paid version of Canva, but you can resize any of your pieces really quick that way. Then if I wanted to animate it instead of just having a flat image, I could do that as well. And then I just need to decide what it is that I want to animate. So that said, let's see. Inside of elements, there are some animations. I can choose what I want to animate. So there's all kinds of cute stuff in here. We can throw those on if we want to do an animation like that. But pretty much anything that you can think of, you can search on and find an animation for it. So it's just a matter of what you want and what makes sense. So there's that. All right. Guys are quiet. Everybody good so far? Okay. All right, so I'm going to close that one down. I'm going to close that one down. There's our Facebook post. I'm going to close that one. And that brings us up to, I was planning on doing a worksheet for Friday. For those of you who have come out to our events, usually I have a worksheet at any of the events. Basically, it just outlines whatever points or takeaways that I want to make sure that you get through whatever the event is or the class is or whatever. So we design those ahead of time so that you have all of that ready to go. And usually the one I use for that is this one, simply because it's kind of classy looking. Plus it gives you the ability to a couple nice little boxes here for the takeaways and ability to write in those spaces for the takeaways. So I don't need the top pieces because nobody needs to put their name and title on things. We're not turning them in. That gives me some additional space for another one of these. So I'm just going to duplicate that. Oops. Undo. Then I'm going to move it as soon as I get the right piece. There we go. Then I can make all of these just a little bit smaller if I need to, or I can just move them a tad. This is essentially what I'm going to do. Make that top one just a little bit smaller because no one's really going to notice it except you guys that know that it's a tiny bit smaller. And the rest of them I'm going to drop down just a little bit. And I'm just using my arrow keys to do that. That's good enough. Doesn't have to be perfect because again, no one's really going to notice it. That looks pretty good. All right. So whatever class that we're doing or whatever event we're doing, I usually put over here on the side. And I'm going to throw my logo up at the top. So people know who it came from. Let's move that over a little. And then it's just a matter of adjusting the questions on here. And let's duplicate that so I can put that up here at the top. Line it up with everything else. And then the first thing I want to do is decide what question do I want to ask first. Well, what is Sway designed for? Because a lot of people have no idea why Microsoft would make something like that. So we talk about, you know, what is it designed for? What does it do? What are you supposed to do with it? What can you do with it? What should you not do with it? And then any of the other questions that I want people to have as a takeaway. And that's all there is to designing a worksheet to set up for a class or anything else. So anything that you want to have takeaways for, if you're doing an event, you can do one of those for. So there's that. You can also add new pages to any of the things that we've done simply by clicking on it. It adds a new page. Or you can get rid of it the same way. If you want to, you can make a total copy of that page. And it really does just make a copy of the exact page. So you can then just adjust a couple pieces on it instead of reinventing the wheel. But that's it. So there we go. There's our Microsoft Sway worksheet, and we're ready to go for that on Friday. So I'm going to download that. Actually, I'm not going to download that because I still have to adjust some of the other pieces to it. But there we go. And then the other thing that you might want to do is create a certificate. So with everybody working at home at this point, the only way to say, you know, attaboy or attagirl or you've done a good job, Teams actually just came out with the ability to give people badges, which is kind of cool. So you can now give people badges for some of the cool stuff that they've done. But you can also design a nice little certificate for people as well. So again, I'm going to pull something right off of a template because I want something nice, but not too nice. It doesn't need to be overly exciting. I want to take a look at the completion certificates and see if there's anything in here that's interesting looking or like something I'd want to give out for a class that people take from us. Actually, I think that's the one I want to use. All right, cool. So that looks nice. There's a cool little brain behind there. And what I want to do is replace that brain with that Sway logo. So what I'm going to do is delete out my brain, go back to my uploads, pull my Sway logo, again, remove the background out of it. I'm going to make it larger. I'll put it kind of in the background there. All right, fantastic. I'm going to position it backwards. Oops, too far. And then I'm going to make it semi-transparent, kind of like that brain was. So we can still see it, but it's not taking over the text. And if I think it's still just a little bit bright, I can take it down just a little more. That looks pretty good. All right, so my certificate of completion there. Again, I'm going to change my brand colors over so that people know it's one of ours. So I changed it over to our darker blue. I'm going to change the certificate of completion here to a black. Since I'm pretty sure Stacy's going to be there on Friday, we'll get Stacy's made ahead of time. So we'll do Stacy's here for her, change the brand color over. So she's going to be completing the course. Micro. I can't type either. There we go. And then I can just change the other information here. My name in here. Make it look like that. If you want to fancy it up, obviously you can fancy it up. We'd probably put our logo on it because we logo everything, as you should as a business. Probably want to put the black one on so it looks a little nicer. That down just a little bit more. And what I might even want to do is push that behind my name and take the transparency down so it looks like that. So one super easy certificate of completion for our class. And again, no, Dave, you do not get a certificate of completion. You aren't adding anything to this class, sorry. Waiting for him to jump in. He's not even jumping in. He's probably on the phone, not really paying attention anyway. Just what I'm guessing he is. So anyway, easy way to do a certificate. Again, there are plenty of templates available to you. Whatever you want to make, totally fine. Just pick one that works for you.
Hey, Dawn,
Mm-hmm.
we can do everything other than make the background vanish, or not vanish, but you know what I mean.
Transparent, yeah.
Thank you. I couldn't think of the word.
What you probably can do, like obviously you can send it over to me. I can pull it out with Photoshop if we need to. So if there's something very specific that you guys need, just send it my way. I'll be happy to do it.
Okay.
And then some of the other programs out there that are available, and even some of the ones integrated into Windows, can do some of that as well if you need to, a recoloring or whatever you need to do.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. That's what I had planned to go over today. Like I said, this isn't a difficult program to master by any stretch of the imagination. It's just a matter of knowing what's available to you and how creative that you are. For those of you who aren't creative, I would recommend sticking with some of the templates to start with and going from there, because a lot of them are very attractive as far as what they look like. It's just a matter of adding in different pictures and different colors that match your specific branding for, you know, your organization or business. And if nothing else, you can get yourself some meerkats put in the background. All right, any other questions?
Cool. No, this looks good. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Thanks so much.
Did you guys want me to hit on buffer or anything else while I'm here? Because I still have a couple minutes left.
Sure.
Okay, take a quick look at buffer. So what buffer can do for you, you can see like all of our articles that are due to go out this week are programmed into buffer already. So we know that tomorrow is Earth Day. And if I want to share something, I can decide where I'm going to share it, how I'm going to share it, um, and how I'm going to put it in there. So I have that Earth Day 2020 down here. I'm actually going to bring it up and drop it onto my add image here. Here we go. So it's going to bring that up. And then I just decide what text is going to go with it. It's Earth Day, yay! What are you doing to save the planet other than staying inside? All right, fantastic. So that's what will go out on Facebook for us, because that's what I've selected so far. If I want to add it to LinkedIn, I simply tag in LinkedIn. If I want to add it to Twitter, I add it to Twitter. I jump over to Twitter, make sure that my image comes in, which it did. I still have 197 characters left. Twitter does tell me that if I want to do that. And then I can decide when I want to schedule it. So I just tell it, oh, well, there tomorrow, and then what time I want to schedule it for. And that's it. That's all Buffer does. So Buffer's whole job is to take this scheduling for your social media off your plate. So I'm not actually going to send that out right now. We actually have something that's due to go out at that time. So we use the free version of Buffer. You can, again, pay for it. It's really not that expensive. It gives you 3 free accounts on Buffer. I use another one for Instagram called Planoly, which gives me some additional configuration to do Instagram accounts with. So that's why I'm not too worried about paying for this one, because we don't have any other social media besides Instagram, and I'm already using a scheduler for that. But that's what it allows you to do. Again, brings up the information that you have your accounts programmed in, you decide what you're going to send out, you schedule it, and then it's all done for you. So everything that I did, I scheduled on Monday morning, and that way I don't have to think about social media the rest of the week, and it's ready to go. And this can do obviously images, it can do links, it can do pretty much anything that you would type into Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever anyway. That way it's just done and off your plate. So that's Buffer.
Don, I have a question, not
Yep.
necessarily on Buffer, but there's two trains of thought on using the same post for each of the different social media. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it depends on your brand, to be honest with you. Excuse me while I hack a little bit.
It's just allergies.
Yeah, it is. It's terrible. There's a ton of schools of thought on doing that. One is that some people use Instagram and don't use Facebook, so they're not going to see the post anyway. Some people don't use Instagram or Facebook and they only see LinkedIn. So it doesn't necessarily mean that just because you're using the same post on 4 different social media platforms that the same people are going to see the same post. In fact, they probably aren't. So I don't have a problem with it. I think it's just a matter of what your brand is and how you do things. And like we use Facebook for one thing, we use Instagram for another, we use LinkedIn for something else. So I think it's just a matter of deciding what message that you put out on each one of those platforms, and then adjusting the image or the information or whatever that comes with it for that particular thing. For instance, I rarely, if ever, use Instagram for actual business stuff, because it really doesn't do anything for that. But I do post pictures of, Pilot, the marketing manager, on our Instagram account for the business, or fun stuff that we're doing, or when we were out doing trick or treat. There's plenty of pictures of me in the big T-Rex costume. That kind of stuff is what goes on to Instagram. That's the fun side of what we do. Facebook really is a lot of our events, information that needs to get out in a timely fashion. And then LinkedIn is thought leadership and business, very specific things. So each platform has something a little bit different. So you might want to think about adjusting the message if you're using the same image on the platforms. Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you.
Probably more so than you needed it to.
Because there's so many, I mean, I've always heard you should not use the same post, the same wording for every single different social media.
And I would say that that's probably true because the platforms are going to get used slightly differently. Yeah, so you change up the wording because I wouldn't want to use the same wording that I use on Facebook, which is a more personal piece than I would on LinkedIn. And sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. But for the most part, the actual message, unless we're doing thought leadership, is going to be different.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep. What other questions do you guys have? All right. Well, in that case, we are done. Thank you guys for coming out.
Thank
Not
you.
that you had to
Thank
go
you.
far, but I appreciate it. And I'll see some of you on Friday for Microsoft Sway. We're going to be doing presentations as well as newsletters. So I'll show you how to do both of those. And then Wednesday is the wind down at 5. So you're welcome to join us for that as well. All right.
All right. Thank you.
See you
Thanks,
guys.
Dawn.
Bye.
See ya.